other part of that conversation is white people be stealing. Listen, I know this ain't part of the conversation, but I'm gonna just give you the context. White people steal worse than black people. Y'all ain't hearing me right now. Let me take this down for a second and just have this conversation with y'all. Thank y'all, Bitcoin Brown, and for everybody that's holding me down. Let me, before we come back to this Walmart conversation, let me give you the truth. I've worked retail. I've worked on the management side. As a matter of fact, uh, I worked closely to open up multiple different stores in white communities, specifically in the Metro Detroit area. Black people have nothing on white people when it comes to stealing. White people steal hard stuff. Now, this is the difference. I'm gonna tell you what the difference is based off of my own experiences. Black people steal food, like they steal dumb junk. They'll go into the self checkout and have 56 items in their cart, but only rung up 28 of them. They're gonna ring up half or something, right? They gonna you know they gonna go and get them some steaks, and they gonna ring them up as bananas, and they gonna weigh them on there. They gonna weigh the steaks as the bananas. That's the stuff that black people do. Okay, black people be stealing, right? And they may even get away with it a little bit. But white people be finessing. And it's a difference between stealing and finessing. Black people steal steaks. White people steal liquor. You ain't gonna hear me. I can't tell you how many people that got chased down in these parking lots as a result of trying to get that liquor. Black people steal video games. White people steal whole electronic sections and TVs. Listen, black people be trying to scam with the cards. White people will have somebody on the inside working hard in order to move the product out the back door. They got a whole nother different type of mentality when it comes to finessing the game. I'm telling you, don't miss for a second. It's a woman that is walking around in Walmart, Valmat right now. And let's not forget these foreigners. I already put y'all up on game on a lot of these foreigners. What did we see when we pulled up to the freeway that day? I seen a whole foreigner. I seen foreigners finessing. They had a whole kid out there inside of the cart. Sun was beaming on the kid. The kid was miserable, and she was out there like, listen, kid, we got to come and get this money. We got to get this "we'll work for free" food sign. I'm telling you, the biggest thieves that I've ever seen inside of any entity, corporate America, bro, it is people. I remember when I used to work in a plant. One of the things that we used to do at Rouge Steel, because I used to work at the steel mill, right? And one of the things that we used to do at the steel mill is when you came in, we didn't have any kind of time cards or anything like that. And it was all kind of based on an honor system. So your supervisor was the person that basically put into the system exactly how many hours you worked. So for example, when I first got into the plant when I was 18, 19 years old, I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think it was like 112 hours a week. But I wasn't really working 112 hours a week. I was probably working like half that, right? And so basically you was working 7 days a week, but you was getting doubles every day, and then you was getting double time on Sundays, time and a half, anything over 40 hours or Saturdays, right? And so we was killing the game and we was making a lot of money. But black people, the difference is they was looking to get the hookup with the supervisor, right? The white people were working together. And this is one of the things that you see the division for based off of my own experiences of what I see in the communities. This is one of the differences between how black people and white people operate, right? So the white people would say, listen, let me learn your job. Black people would say, fuck you, get your own. The women was busting down the supervisors. The supervisors was giving the women extra time on a timesheet, and there was no way that anybody else can verify it. So they was stealing the company blind, right? White people would do it like this. Let me tell you how black people would do it. Black people would say, all right, listen, give me the hookup. White people would say, listen, I'm going to learn your job and I'll cover you for my shift, and then you cover me for your shift. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we had this thing called the pickling line. And the pickling line is you take this big old roll of steel and you insert it into the machine. And the machine, then it goes to the next person. And the next person chops off the front ends so that they can tie it in and weld it together. And then they can drive it in through this acid purification process that cleans the steel in order to get it ready for it to be rolled out so that they can form it into whatever it is that they're going to form it in. And whatever products that you have, your cars, the panels on your cars, the little steel pieces or whatever, it rolls it out in order for you to actually stamp it through and create new products, right? So throughout this pickling process, the very first person in the line, he's doing the process, he's inserting it into it. He's one of the most important people. The second person in the process is chopping it. The third person in the process is welding it, and they sending it down, right? The white people, and I paid attention very, very closely, the white people, the way that they would do it is they would learn every single job. They would learn all three jobs. They would learn all three jobs. Now, why would they learn all three jobs? So that they can A, get chosen for the overtime, and then B, they would work together to do each other's job to ensure that he only had to work 8 hours, but he can be going for 16. Now, how can he be going for 8 hours, but he going for 16? Let's say my shift is from 8 to 4, and your shift is from 4 to 12. I work mornings, you work afternoons, right? Now, it's all overlap because it's 24 hours. So it's 8 to 4, 4 to 12, 12 to 8. Pay attention. Pay attention to how they used to do this, right? The guy that works 8 to 4, the guy that works 8 to 4, he going to do a double. 8 to 4 and then 4 to 12. So he's there from 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock at night, right? But what he does is he tells the guy that's working from 8 to 4 on a shift with him, hey, listen, cover me from 8 to 12. I'll be in at 12. And then you guys can take off at 12 o'clock. So the guy that's in the morning is really only working 8 to 12, but he owns an insurance company, so he getting paid outside of here. He only working 4 hours, but he there for the benefits, right? The next guy that's working the double, which is me, I'm really working from 12 to 8 because I'm going to cover him, right? I'm going to do both of our jobs from 12 to 4 and then 4 to 8. This guy going to come in from 8 to 12. He's going to let me come home, and then he's going to cover my job from 8 to 12. So basically what they learned to do, and they was knocking it down for years. They was knocking it down for literally decades before I even came into the job. And instead of me hanging with the niggas, I was like, let me learn every job. Let me pay my dues. Let me make sure that I'm trustworthy because it's cultural, right? Culture means that, are you somebody that's going to snitch? Is it somebody that people like working with? Can you add value into the conversation? Whatever. And so as a result, I was working 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, getting paid for 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, busting down those $120,000 a year checks all day long. And they would say, Anton, why you ain't hanging out with us? Because you coming in drunk, homeboy. The black people were coming in drunk. They got baby mamas. They got drama over there. They creating heat. They got corporate coming down and looking down and see what the fuck is going on. The white people is trying to be quiet. We don't want nobody saying nothing. Come on. All right, give me a hug. The white people is trying to keep it low pro because we all get money together. They try not to mess up the bag. The black people is over there arguing, going back and forth. Hey, man, what the fuck? I heard you holler at my girl, man. I'm like this. Why they fucking up the money? Why they trying to mess up the money? Now they got all of this. Now everybody got to come in on their regular shifts because now you got extra corporate and the supervisors, they were supposed to be working with us, but now you making heat on him, and so he feeling some type of way because you tried to fuck his girl that he fucking on the line and all of this other. It was just like black people. Whenever I would come into this environment, it was just so much drama. White people have been busting it down for years. Then you get this little knucklehead that comes in and he for the streets and he can't come in. Now, look, he tried to join in on the game. This motherfucker can't get here on time. The line is about to go down because you said that you was going to cover this dude. It only works if every piece is a part of the cog. And the thing that white people understand is that they don't fuck with all white people. When they identify that meth head over there, or they identify that dude that can't get here on time, right? When they identify the dude that's going to fuck up the bag, they separate themselves from him. They separate themselves from the person that's going to mess up the money. They don't feel obligated to take care of everybody just because you white. They be like, listen, get that motherfucker out of here. Get him fired. They literally will say, hey, get him fired because he going to mess up the bag for everybody. They'd rather protect all of the ones that's about their business than trying to be kumbaya with everybody and calling it a conglomerate. Rich white people don't fuck with poor white people. That's a nigga shit right there. And the minute that you start aligning yourself with people that's not going in, I know I'm going on a rant. I'm sorry. I had to break it down for you. The minute that you keep aligning yourself with people and they don't have the same core principles, values, and they're not going in the direction that you're going in, that person is going to be the weak link. They're going to fuck up the money and then everything going to get imploded. Before you know it, by the time that I left, before the 2008 recession, we had time cards. We had badges that you had to come in and swipe with. They look just like this. They look just like this. We had to swipe in on our time cards. Then we had to figure out how to fucking finesse that one. Had to go get double time. You had black people. They was parking where they wasn't supposed to park. Dude wasn't even supposed to be inside of the plant with his car. He can't get out of security. Now this nigga bringing heat. I was like, oh my God, why can't we get it together? We got a perfect system here where the company making money, productivity was up, nobody was looking at us, and then you had a few niggas that came in and fucked everything up. Next thing you know, we swiping time cards and shit. You can feel however you want to feel about it, but this is facts. This is 100% facts. It's dudes that literally had retired. They had been busting that place down for decades. And then they had a hiring freeze pretty much all throughout the 90s. They started the hiring back in the 2000s when a bunch of dudes retired. And then they messed up the system. They messed up the system. By that time, I was on my way out the door anyway. But